Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Out of Character, our placeholder sort of show where we just throw it in when we can't do a real live session because due to some unfortunate circumstances, we haven't been able to kick off our normal Chronicles of Amar session like we normally can. So, in the same fashion as last time, we are kicking off with just a chat show. We're gonna talk shit or shit talk, either way. But
Both. Either.
yeah, either or, everybody involved. But welcome to Out of Character. We are the Coastal Conclave, and I'll just do a quick round table of everybody. My esteemed guests are Nat. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Nat. So I play Kid, most weeks anyway. Sort of a bit of a rotating roster historically. And yeah, I'm sort of the newest baby member of the group.
Awesome. And Richard.
Hi there, folks. If Nat's the baby of the group, I'm probably like the weird uncle of the group. And I'm wrapping my brain around this whole shit talk and talk shit thing. They're both so separate, yet they're built off each other. What does that even mean, Andy?
I know, right?
Also, I play Lolliput.
Also sometimes.
Also, what?
Also sometimes.
Also, sometimes. Other times, I do a vague approximation of a human being.
Yep.
Awesome. Yes, well, Lolliput has many different personas, so that's always a thing. And obviously, well, not obviously, the last but not least, I will be running our out of character session, your host, and usual crazy, stabby, mental goblin, Lilith, recently, who has just rejoined the group after a small hiatus due to some story beats that pulled her in a different direction for a brief period of time, and I joined the group with Isaiah, the gunslinger, and one of the Empire's sort of past individuals as part of the military. So, yes, we are the three individuals that are holding the fort tonight, and we're going to do two things. Our very first thing is we're going to probably talk shop about the campaign, what's going on, maybe leaning on Nat a little bit because as she is the baby person, like what does Kit think of her new companions, and all
this
that
is
kind
the
of
shit
stuff.
talk bit you were talking about.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
the
This
shit
is
talk
apparently
bit.
the shit talk segment.
Yeah.
Makes
Maybe
sense.
we'll briefly touch on my rendition of Falstus with Mike being away for a few weeks, and how it's a vast improvement on the character.
You know what they say? If it happens 3 times, it's canon.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
So what you're saying is he needs to be there next session,
Yeah, he needs to get
back.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's still
pressure's
locked.
on.
Otherwise, that Zoolander impression of Falstus is locked in.
Yeah.
And maybe some insights into where the party might go, a la Lolliput and the vision we saw. So we're going to jump into that, and yeah, after that point, we're then going to do a new segment of mine, which is inspired by another content creator that I love very, very much. A lot of people who are into the D&D content creation space probably know him. He is XP to level 3, and we are going to dive into D&D Beyond and have a look at some homebrew stuff. Specifically, the not-so-good homebrew stuff. And that should be a good laugh. Technically at other people's expense, but at the same time, they're the ones who made it, so they probably had it coming.
Can we
It's
just
out
agree?
there
Can
in
we agree at
public.
the top of the call? Can we agree at the top of the call that we're laughing with
Yes,
the
with the
laughing
person,
with
like they've obviously
the
made it
world?
as a joke, and sorry, looking at the chat, and yes, yeah, we're laughing with them because they obviously, if it's that bad, they must have made it as a joke, right?
Laughing in encouragement.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's kick it off. Our first topic is going to be what does everybody think about the campaign so far? I guess it's just an open question. How are your characters feeling? I guess the weight of world-ending alignment events and, ancient gods and gods that were humans becoming, bigger gods and other gods kicking other good gods' asses and then shoving them in a prison and stealing eyes and, we our little...
shoving them into a sack.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what the Bastion. The Celestial Bastion is just a giant bag of holding for gods.
I mean, and because they're gods, they don't need to breathe.
Exactly. So that's exactly... It's just some guy with a bag of holding is actually where it is. But yeah, like, cataclysmic events. We learned a lot of lore in our little sojourn to Athel and Feline, or what... I can never get it right. I don't understand how Luke decides to make up these really, really complicated words. And you heard me, Luke. I know you're watching.
Yep, I think we just got a chiding no spoilers.
About what? About what may be happening? We don't know what's going to happen.
There's no DM involvement
spoiling.
here, so...
No spoiling our viewers' love of the vocabulary that Luke's creating. That's what he doesn't want to spoil.
Yeah, that's what he doesn't want to spoil.
See, the pronunciation is something that I can deal with. It's the spelling that trips me up.
Yeah.
I have like 3 different spellings of everything in my notes.
Yeah.
Spell phonetically. That's how I roll.
Most of the time.
And if it's wrong, at least you're saying it right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. As long as nobody looks at my notes, my precious notes.
So, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts? How do your characters feel?
Richard, do you want to go first?
Oh, it'd be my pleasure, Nat. Lolliput's feeling a little overwhelmed by it all. It's kind of like one of those things, when you're watching a movie and there's a world-ending disaster. But the fact of the matter is you would have got the same reaction from me if the building was just falling down around my head. Either way, like, it's a bad thing. Like, it's like to say, like, and the gods are coming out, and then there's a bigger god. And like Lolliput's just like, like, one thing at a time. Like, I can solve this thing here, but... and to kind of see that, or to see that kind of future play out, or to know that future kind of playing out with the demon emerging from the silver tree, and like the whole of the silver veil like being brought to ashes, and everything that we've been trying to do just is irrelevant. Like, this will kind of come to pass. It's kind of a tough thing to come to terms with. I think right now he's really thinking about calling his mum.
Hopefully, with I think the last time you called her, you just said like hello, or like there was just a greeting and you didn't actually use the sending stone correctly or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I probably wasted all my minutes.
Yeah.
On it. The other thing, I think he's definitely... Lolliput is definitely starting to look at Lolth as... Maybe she's not so bad. I mean, like... These gods just effectively gang-bashed this other one and ripped out her eye. Lolth seems kind of like in opposition to Alindra, who's supporting Vorothos, who we all know is this kind of, like, absence of nothing, this big... darkness above all. Maybe the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Maybe Lolth isn't so bad after all.
Well, I think that's a big through line, isn't it? Is what we found out last session. Even maybe some bad gods might be useful allies in order to reset the balance, because it seems like there's a bit of a god war going on, or the gods that are around the Triumvirate are
evil.
Yeah, well, not so evil. Yeah. There's maybe a moral grey area where the Triumvirate seem to be doing a lot of stuff that you would deem as evil, even though they're supposed to be of the domains of good. So I think a big part of the question here is, what's the morality of godhood? And I guess, they've got a bit of a monopoly at the moment on worship.
Yeah.
Like, you worship us. I mean, who else are you going to worship? So, essentially...
You don't know anyone else exists, so join our line.
Exactly. You either have to go to Coles or Woolies. There's Aldi, but...
But where's my goddamn corner shop?
Yeah. But
where is the corner shop of gods?
Yeah.
Not the Redeemer, obviously.
Is she the corner shop? Is she like the fish and chip shop?
Yeah.
I feel like she's a fish and chip shop that always gets the smash burger just right, but you only ever buy one thing because you're kind of scared to try anything else.
Or like scallops because it's the safest thing.
Oh yes, absolutely, but only the potato kind. The other one's dangerous.
Oh yeah. No. Potato scallops for sure, because then you're just like,
Yeah.
So she's safe but reliable.
Yeah. Can't really do much. A little bit bland because of it, but goddamn if it doesn't hit the spot.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I mean, that's very interesting. I guess Kit, what's going through Kit's mind at the moment, and she's very intrinsically tied with the Redeemer, and I guess the arc that's happening right now. So I guess yeah. How's that going?
It's been a really interesting one to try and so not only come to terms with, but Kit's introduction to the campaign, so far into the progress of things, trying to reason around, I suppose, different ways that Kit could kind of become privy to all this knowledge and, suddenly have it, broken upon her head that the world's ending. And not just devolve into like a sobbing mess in a corner back in the tavern that everyone found her. Because that would be the reasonable response, right?
Yeah.
But, given where she was found, sort of her recent past and things like that, I suppose there is, a little bit of a muted threshold for cosmic horror. That's definitely helped along those lines. But yeah, aside from that, it's been very, very interesting sort of discovering the group piece by piece. From Falstus and Isabel in the first encounter, where, she was completely off her face. And just thankful that she actually recognized anyone, to suddenly finding out that, this great cult that had basically been running her life for the past 6 months to a year had suddenly just disappeared. And then the whole process of, slowly gaining context back for everything that was happening around her.
Yeah.
And I think there's a really fun dynamic starting to happen with Lilith as well, which I do enjoy. The whole... Because Lilith has been talked up as this giant, horrific monster that will effectively steal her soul, shank her, and then run off into the night. There's this moment of like, oh, it's just like... She's just kind of this tiny little violent puppy. I need to watch my fingers, but it's okay.
Everything you just said about things you're worried about are objective truths about Lilith. She will steal your soul, shank you, and rob you.
Yes, but that still remains to be seen. So, for now, tiny little aggressive puppy, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah,
puppy with a shotgun.
Her perception was she was expecting it to come out of the gate and just be like, "Oh shit!" Like, get away from me. But it's more subtle than that.
Yeah, that's it. And then I think Lolliput's been really fun as well, because it's that whole thing of first introduction was, Biff Hard Blaster blasting through the door, breakfast burrito at heads, all that kind of thing. And there's only so much you can really say in that situation, aside from, who are you, what are you doing here, but also, I know very well that I'm new enough that you have exactly the same questions. But I do think we had a moment. We are best friends now. It is, it's written in the stars.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that's what Lollipop really needs right now.
Yeah, a good friend. There's definitely some fun things to be discussed. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because you've also got the whole dynamic of Falstus. Kit and Falstus are going to have a very, very frank conversation, I think, very soon.
Yeah. It's what the best friend would do. Beat up my bully.
Well, fair. The other thing is, Kit also has no context for any of the dissonance between you two either.
Just like, man, these two just hate each other for, I assume, a valid reason, but at the same time, I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah, and there's just this slight undercurrent of, Mom, Dad, stop fighting.
Yeah, it's going to come out. Sooner or later, Kit, you're going to be privy to some laundry being hung out.
Oh, yes.
Dirty laundry.
But I think the other thing is that the whole discussion about, what is evil and, whether or not evil can be used for good and all that sort of stuff is something that's going to become more and more relevant, I think. And it's going to be a really sort of tough line to draw.
I like the morally grey sort of undertones for sure, because I'm definitely playing a very morally grey character.
Well, yeah. Slightly biased in this.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, that's good that there's these kind of undertones, because for me personally as a player, that gives me a little bit more agency to explore those themes with a character that is inherently not necessarily a good person. She is all about the violence. She's all about what's an angle that benefits her most, and I think the way she sees things is this like vague disinterest, because she is so privileged. She doesn't feel an overwhelming, but she knows there's a lot going on, and that the group's kind of like part of it, and she's kind of just like, yeah, like, you got me, so we're kind of fine.
So self-assured that nothing could be a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. She's the double princess, right? So, and she's got souls to steal, right? But yeah, I think that's going to be really good, because it then makes that, just to your point there, it's just like, okay, we've got a character like Lilith. We've got, okay, maybe we need to get Lilith to help us out here. Using evil for good purposes is not necessarily a bad thing if it's for the greater good, or objectively from a morality standpoint helps, people generally.
It's just like, what are these labels that, like, who said that she's evil?
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
There is a very, very in-depth conversation that may break out of the game at some point here, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Eldeth may as well be like evil by a definition,
right?
Yanking people's eyes out and stuff like that. Like, fucking hell.
It's stuffing my god into a bag of holding.
Yeah.
That is now becoming canon in my mind, just so you know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this horrible dwarf that we met in a sewer on like episode 1 is probably the person who has the bag of holding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What was his name? Like Gundren or
Gundren or Greg Gegan or something like that. I don't know.
Gegan.
It'll be in my notebook, which is over there, and I'm not fussed about going to get it. But he was. He was
sorry, I was just gonna say, like,
apothecary.
Is this one of those things where at the very, very start, you missed all of the like character red flags? Did he have like one unseeing glass eye, a limp, a scar down the side of his face?
there was so many red flags. He was like a
Sewer hobo.
putrid dwarf living in the sewer. I think he was a poo cleric or something along those lines. That's definitely the impression that Lolliput got. But yeah, he was filthy from the get-go, and we were just like, get away from us.
Yeah. True story, he liked eating poo.
That's canon.
That's canon.
I think it's the third time we've said it.
Yep.
Luke is just reminding you in chat that he healed you, Lolliput, with his.
And he also gave
cleric.
me a terrible infection, which you guys didn't let me forget for the whole episode.
The foot fungus. The what do you call it?
He gave me athlete's foot as well. I was wondering where that came from. It's been terribly itchy this whole campaign.
If you say it 3 times, you summon him.
Oh no.
Anyway, we're not going to talk about
the toilet.
Yes, well, that is, I guess, I think it's very interesting where the characters are at in terms of like what's going on in the campaign so far. Let's talk more that vision. So I guess we all had that vision. Lilith, I mean, I'll go first. She was, mildly disinterested, which is just her character, obviously.
Yep, what's new?
But I guess Kit, Lolliput, maybe we do Lolliput last. Kit, you give your thoughts on the vision that we all shared.
Yeah, well, so for one, I am, just to say, I am very proud of figuring out that question. Just, especially when you're put on the spot of you have one chance, you have one question, 30 seconds, snap, snap.
One shot, one opportunity.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think it links back to that whole idea of Kit has basically been slammed with so many revelations that she's almost starting to get a little trauma weary by the whole thing. And, not in a sense that it's starting to lose meaning, but just how more horrifying can it get before she stops responding to it necessarily? But yeah, just so with all the things that she's been introduced to recently, she knew that she had to go to the Silver Veil, and there was potentially something, an element of the Redeemer's Fellowship there. So it kind of makes sense as to that being the source of our troubles, so to speak. And in terms of the actual vision and the context of it as well, we haven't really had much of a chance to explore it, but Kit is very disconnected from any sort of elven heritage. And so there's an element of empathy, but no personal connection. So I would imagine it's significantly less horrifying than it is for Lolliput.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Well, Lolliput, Richard.
With a very, very strong reaction to it as well.
You did.
I had a very, yeah. But I just blacked out. I let the character speak through me. I'll have to rewatch it. Yeah, I mean, it's horrifying. Lolliput's had his own series of revelations over the last couple of weeks. I guess it would be in-game time. So first discovering that his house, this stalwart of virtue and heroism that he kind of saw were actually LOL supporters, and that's bad. And they're trying to kind of unlock the prison, and that's really bad. I mean, he's going to go his own way, and he's going to show them all. He's going to save his land in his own way. He's going to save him from the Imperials and all that sort of stuff. And then to kind of try carving his own path, to run up against this, which is effectively no matter what you do, everything that you'd hope to achieve is going to end up in flames. It's pretty gut wrenching. It definitely kind of makes you kind of like rethink, if this is set in stone, is there any point to anything anymore? You know, what can I change? How can I talk my way around this? Because let's face it, Lolliput does a lot of stuff, but it's all kind of like a snake oil salesman pitch. It's all the sizzle that he kind of tries to work with. Can he talk his way out of an apocalypse?
Yeah.
Let's see.
We're going to give it a shot, aren't we?
Yeah, we give it a red hot go.
I think
that's it. Oh, sorry.
No, you go, Nat.
Oh, I was going to say, a good old college try, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Close my eyes and think of the Silver Veil.
Yeah. I think a really good question that sort of jumps to my mind on this is, do you think that Lolliput's view of his family has changed a little bit, even in this short period of time, knowing that Lolth may be a potential ally, and that opening the Bastion and actually fulfilling what they're trying to do is potentially a good path? Like, it is a path that might save the Silver Veil, or at least be on the cards for saving the Silver Veil.
Yeah, very much so. Like, he is flip-flopping around the place in terms of where Lolth lies. It was pretty bad when he first heard the revelation, and then he actually got to meet Lolth, and that didn't end up as a success either. But to find out that as is kind of like the thread of this conversation, like, what is an evil god? If Falstus's stupid god Eldeth can be so cruel to the other gods, and these gods can do such vile, evil things, then is it like a case of a unreliable narrator that is just saying that these gods are evil, and the other ones maybe less so? Like, what is the morals here? And is Lolth, as you said, like a potential ally? Maybe she's a force of nature, and maybe that's not something that should really be squashed or removed from existence.
Well, I guess it bounces back down to, what if you look at the gods and think of them as more like, they have control of domains of natural order and stuff like that. Maybe part of our destiny / all the destiny of the story is rebalancing things. Perhaps the balance.
I knew he was working Star Wars into this.
Yeah.
Luke, if you're watching this, have you made us Jedis?
He's like, I can neither confirm or deny that you are Jedis in a fantasy setting.
Excellent.
Yeah, there looks to be a balance, and I'll even take it further. And who knows if this is intentional? I don't know what goes on in Luke's mind, but even that social, political aspect of what is deemed a good deed or deemed a bad deed, what is balance of nature. You look at what these gods have done. You think about them taking the Eye of Mystra from her and throwing her in prison, and making this other god Moradin their bitch, to make the eyes, amulet. Sounds a lot like subjugation, oppression, and if you look at it from a societal point of view, those are generally evil sort of like themes. So
absolutely.
Is that the through line there? Is it the actions of these gods that we should be looking at, and more just who they are type thing?
Well, the way that I'm looking at it at the moment, because obviously, so with the Redeemer, it's the idea that there is, or at least originally, there was no domain. It was just the actions and intention that sort of pushed her forwards. And so I can't imagine judging. So, like, if you look at gods as was said earlier, like forces of nature, you can't really judge a force of nature for causing destruction if it's what it does. You can't judge a wild animal for hunting things if that's how it survives, and that's what's been built into it from the start of time. But the moment that they make a conscious decision to go against their nature or break out of that pattern of behavior to do an intentionally or by result an evil act, that's where I believe that's where Kit's going to start passing judgment.
Yeah, for sure. So many theological or what's the terminology for God theory stuff? Theist? Is it theist? I don't know. Anyway. I'm sure Luke will correct me. He's good with that stuff.
Yeah.
But it is. It's got a lot of. It's interesting to sort of break that down. What is a god? What are godly acts, and what's their kind of what's the purpose and what's the drive? What defines what in the grand scheme of things? And
I think Kit might have said it in one of the last episodes. But what is a god?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that's that entire that conversation with False just started out as a effectively just a way to stir him up, as he was getting incredibly preachy, and Kit was just like, we don't have time for this. Let's call you out on this. What is a god? Don't tell me I'm wrong. I speak to mine, at least a little bit. But I'm very amused at sort of how that's actually become a proper thread of discussion that we're now having to deal with. And at least it rewards the notes that as a player that I've spent time putting forward anticipating Falstus's arguments.
The reams and reams of documents.
I have answers prepared, and we'll see how that goes.
I have been wondering what that massive binder that you keep bringing to every session is, but now I know.
Yeah, it's the one with all the tags going out, alphabetically aligned by, Falstus says.
The flow charts.
She just goes to a page and it's just this one page, what do you call it? Speech on why he's wrong.
Yeah. Just tears it out and hands it to him. Read that yourself.
Yeah. Can you read this out for me, please?
I
feel like
this
idiot.
needs to be a thing now, all things considered. Next session, turn up, I'll have the binder, I'll have the notes, and so on the topic of this, here's my monologue.
I mean, I pulled one out for Isaiah for his monologue about the horrors of the Empire and how they are just as bad as everybody else. And again, Luke pulling on his Star Wars for some inspiration, right? It's like the Empire's not that bad. Oh no, they're terrible. They're terrible.
They absolutely are. They're just really good at propaganda.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all propaganda.
The PR team is excellent.
Yeah. Cool. Well, as we get closer to 8, I'm conscious of time. What we're going to do, I think that's a pretty good little chat about some of the elements. He's just put in chat. They brought peace and prosperity to the galaxy.
According to them.
Yeah. History's always written by the victors. We know that. It's History 101, so... yes, well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens and evolves in the story over the next couple of sessions. We do have some big moments. I do believe Kit and Falsus are going to have a big theological debate. I do believe Lolliput is going to have some real big moments in terms of, I guess, where we need to focus our efforts to stop when a great calamity that's going to happen, or at least mitigate its damage, because the Redeemer was pretty certain that no matter what we did, it was going to happen. And Lilith is just here to have fun.
He's a party girl through and through.
Yeah. I am looking forward to Lolliput on home turf.
Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty cool. So what we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen who are watching, we've got a few viewers tonight. So thank you for joining us for our out of character session, everybody out there in Twitchland. But we are going to switch over to we're going to go look into D&D Beyond, and we're going to just going to look at some creatures. We're going to do monsters today. We're going to do homebrew monsters. So let's
Is there a
have a
not
look.
safe for work warning that we need to levy against these homebrews?
Look, I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to say not suitable for work because I'm probably going to get loose with my lingo anyway. So if you're one of Luke's students, know that Luke does not endorse anything that happens after this point. And that is propagated. Yeah, no opinions or languages or anything like that is propagated by Luke in any way. It's purely Andy, the other Chaos Lord of the Coast of Conclave. So I'm going to, first things first, this is going to completely out of whack a bunch of our cameras, and hope to God it doesn't stuff everything up.
Alright, we can just make live adjustments.
We're going to have to, and if we do,
we're doing it live.
I apologize. There is massive lag on my side, so please don't die horribly. So that's going to go there. And then if we switch over to this scene, we're all in the right spot. Thank God.
Hey.
I think that's dropped our frame rate quite bad, but hopefully everybody can hear us anyway. If you're listening to it while you're watching some TV or having some dinner, that's good. So I've already gone and pre-filtered this to the great stuff. So what I've done here is I've literally just filtered the rating. We're looking at the rating worst stuff. So the things that have the lowest points, and surprisingly enough, I've looked into other categories, and for monsters, minus 10 points is actually not that bad. It's not that bad at all. But 10 people have definitely said this is not a good time. I see 12 people have said it's not a good time. 2 people have said it's a great time. But what
those two are the DMs.
Yeah. we're gonna scroll down and actually look at one down here that I thought was quite relevant. And that's this one. A swarm of krakens.
Oh no.
So it's important to note, it's got plus 19 upvotes and minus 26 downvotes. It has been viewed.
Amazing.
It has been viewed 2,300 times. Lord Fat Labrador. Let's have a look at what we've got here. Swarm of krakens. Okay, it's got a bit of text. Let's have a look at this thing. Armor class 20. Okay, that's the same as a normal kraken. Hit points 4,720. That's probably it depends on how many krakens are involved in this thing. It's.
Well, how many krakens do you think constitutes a swarm?
Yeah, what's the threshold here?
It doesn't
actually. Is it more than 8?
Oh wait. Description: a swarm of 10 krakens. There's 10 krakens here. And I do believe that is correct math. Krakens do have 470 something hit points. And so it's times 10. So yeah, 4,720 hit points. So I mean that's at least something.
That's confirmed.
In terms of stats, strength and con really high, and then the rest of the stats are pretty much the same as what a kraken would be. Saving throws. Okay, they've got basically proficiency in all saving throws except dexterity, which I don't think they normally have. Intimidation plus 20. It's an interesting choice.
I mean, fair. Come on.
Yeah. Normal damage resistance and immunities for krakens, And condition immunities, well, it's a swarm, so yeah, they pretty much have all condition immunities. So charmed, frightened, grappled, incapacitated, paralyzed, petrified, prone, restrained, or stunned. True sight. I don't think normal Krakens have true sight, but I could be wrong. And
Yeah, but you're
when
looking
you get
at
a group
weighted
of them-
numbers to make the check.
Yeah, when you're looking at a group of them, they're all looking in different directions. You know,
But-
that's a lot of sight.
Yeah.
But that's not what true sight is.
See, what you're actually seeing is they misspelled it. It's troop sight to represent how many there are.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. Because if it's true sight, it just means 10 Krakens suddenly allow all Krakens to see into the ethereal plane and invisible creatures.
I mean, that's what happens when you get 10 people together. I don't see why it'd be different for Krakens. I also like the idea of troop sight. I like the idea that as soon as you get 10 Krakens together, they automatically form a band.
Yes.
I'm guessing something probably folky.
Yeah.
Something kind of bluegrassy.
Yeah, and there has to be at least true drum kits, because with that many arms...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, always fighting over the drummer position.
So it's amphibious. Yeah, that's standard fruit of movement. That's a pretty usual swarm ability. Siege monster. Yep, that's fine. Swarm. That's. I mean, that's very interesting in and of itself. Anyway, because swarm abilities normally mean you can occupy other creature spaces, and it's a gargantuan creature.
So it's not that they occupy your space, it's that you occupy the space in between them.
Yeah, I think that's more like what it's for. So, actions, attacks, multi-attack. Hot, okay, sure. The swarm makes 30 tentacle attacks, or 10 bite attacks. Or can replace any of these using their flings. God. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, swarms usually do just get multiple attacks based on how many are in the swarm, or at least an aggregate of it. But even at challenge rating 30 tentacle attacks from a swarm of Krakens, plus 17 to hit, reach 30 d6 bludgeoning damage. I think that's more than normal. So not only has he added the fact that they can make 30 attacks with tentacles, but it also means that each tentacle is making 30 damage, 30 d6 damage worth on tentacles.
And can we just stop for a second and try and puzzle out in what context this brave DM decided to delight his players with this somewhat achievable challenge?
No, this is... You know what this is. This is the...
Luke's
I mean,
dream?
this is Luke's wet dream for sure, yeah.
Unfully intended.
No, this is the offerings weren't good enough for the DM. They didn't bring snacks, or a player was late, type thing. Oh, what's going...
That one person wouldn't put their phone down at the table. Rocks fall, everyone dies, except it's Kraken's fall. Everyone dies.
I like to think that he levied this against like a group of 5 level 3 characters. And it would have been like session 4.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh my goodness, though. Can you think of it? Just, this has to be the brainchild of, if you don't stop doing that, guys, I will bring a goddamn swarm of Krakens to the table. No,
100%.
you won't.
100%.
You don't have enough miniatures! Oh, yeah?
That doesn't have a stat block. Next session, just a single page gets tucked behind the book.
WizKids is just like, we just got an order for 10 of our Krakens?
I mean, if you're fighting on the open water, you only need one Kraken, and you just divide the tentacles and, chop up a couple of bits.
Yeah,
well, have you guys ever heard of the Rat King?
Yes.
I honestly don't know if it's a D&D monster, but, so in a lot of fiction, the Rat King is when, there's a cluster of rats whose tails all get, smushed and fused together. And then, of course, it gains Psychic, Arcane.
You have that many consciousnesses
cosmic powers
tied together.
This explains the true sight. What I just think is the way to improve this is all their tentacles are all meshed together like a rat king. So Kraken King, you can write that down, Luke. Would be a much better application rather than just like a tub of seafood, which is what this is going to sound like. A tub of seafood that can see through time.
Yeah, 100%.
On space.
I mean, even the bite's normal. Tentacles apparently, do way more damage. Flings, essentially, I mean, they get to make 30 of them if they really need to, which is just throw things around the field. Lightning storms, 40 d10 lightning damage. But this is the. Okay, this is actually not too bad. I looked at it and I was like, legendary actions. Swarm can take 30 legendary actions. But then the tentacle attacks and lightning storms and clouds all cost quite a lot of actions, like 20 actions to do lightning storm, etc. So that's not horrible. But then at the same time, I don't know why you wouldn't have just been like, make 3 legendary actions and then make the tentacle attacks cost 1 and the lightning storms cost 2. But that's just me. Bigger numbers equals better, right?
Maybe it's a self-solving problem, though. Like, if you're a fish-like creature in the water and you're channeling a lot of electricity into that water, maybe just gets one turn.
Yeah, 100%. Look,
does it have lightning resistance at all?
Yeah, or immunity.
It's immune to lightning.
Okay, good. At least they thought of that.
So it's a Pokemon.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. We'll go. I'll just jump into the stat thing because I want to see what comments on here.
Maybe we should put our own one.
You've done the Tarasks. Now you've done the Karakrakens. What will you do next? A swarm of Tiamats? And then
if the demand is there.
His response is, I am working on that. It is now out.
Oh my gosh. I like the idea of him just sitting there with like a glass of wine and some classical music on, thinking, what should I swarm next?
Yeah. How would this creature act when it is in a swarm? How does this modify its behavior?
Should I do something else? Should I be revolutionary? No, I'll stick to swarms.
We must swarm.
That's what I'm good at. Yeah.
Yeah, did you just take the Kraken stat block and multiply everything by 10? Yes, he did. J Ranger 6. Why though?
But why not?
He's a renegade. He's a champion of the people.
Yeah.
Doing what needs to be done. He's essentially Batman out there making swarms.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. We don't know if the author is in fact the swarm himself, or herself.
You do raise good points.
Maybe he loves that. Cool. Well, we probably have enough time for one more. Sorry, guys, this is a bit short, but hopefully we'll be getting into more sessions, and then we might actually kind of try and make this thing out of character a bit of a rotation or thing anyway, so we can do more of this insanity. So, I mean, what do we got here? What's the first one? Fire Elemental Owlbear. Okay. Alright. What are you? Interesting. What? The size of a Galatolf. The shape of a bear face and wings of an owl. Large sharp teeth and razor blade-like beak. Reddish-orange feathers covers this massive body. So, Mr. On has created us a Fire Elemental Owlbear. It's the most downvoted homebrew monster on the list. Armor class 15, hit points 100, speed 30, fly 60. So it's a flying
owlbear. Downvoted. We think it's really downvoted just because the owl purists got onto this, owlbear purists got onto this forum, and they're just like, you can't mess with the owlbears. They're too good as it is.
I mean,
owlbears are pretty sacred.
Yeah, I definitely think this guy is just getting cancelled, to be honest. Damage vulnerability is cold. Damage immunity is fire. That makes sense. Stats.
It's out.
Stats are stats. Flyby. Oh no! I know what he's done here. So he's added the owl. So just the owl creature.
Oh no!
Stats into this thing. So the owl doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity when it flies out of an enemy's reach. So it can fly in, attack, and then get out without getting hit.
It flame flickers back.
An enormous fiery bear with the head of an owl.
Yep. It's a legendary creature too. That's also important to note.
Yeah.
Keen hearing and sight. That's pretty standard. Multi-attack. 2 with its talons and 1 with its beak. I like.
Now, legendary means. Oh, sorry.
No. What? Sorry, what'd you say? Legendary.
Oh, I was going to say legendary just means that you can't have 2 of them out at the same time, right?
No, it just means
it is
Pokemon reactions.
No, sorry, I'm terrible, like cross nerd joke.
That's a magic joke for sure. Oh god. So we've given Luke ideas. He's now saying Varathi, Swarm of the Primordial Void. So our final boss of the campaign is no longer just one Varathi. It's now a swarm of Varathi.
Okay, I'm not painting up 10 of them. I'm just putting it out there right now.
Yep. She's only painting 1, Luke. Look,
I'll paint 1 and then you take 9 shitty Polaroid pictures and lay them on the table.
Just standee cards for the other 9. I very much like this. Beak 2d4. So there's no attack here. There's 2d4 what? 2d4 damage? You roll 2d4 and then that's it. It's not damage. It's not
the amount of beaks.
It's just the amount of
You just
beak.
acknowledge beak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You roll 2d4 and that's how much beak, Dash.
I mean, that's kind of how birds work, to be fair. It's either beak or no beak.
Yeah. Talons, melee weapon attack, +3 to hit, reach 5, 2d10 plus 1d4, 2d10 what damage, and plus 1d4 fire damage. Flame wing. When flying, a trailing flame comes from the owlbear in a 20-foot radius. Every monster makes a DC 15 Constitution damage on a successful save.
Wait, it erodes your Constitution.
You make a DC 15 Constitution damage, and on a successful save, half damage is taken off, and then it's just 4d10.
Wow. What a truly mighty beast. You can actually erode your stats.
But also, we've got like crazy speed. We've got no attack of opportunity.
No.
This thing's making contrails across the sky.
Yep. People are making DC 15 Constitution damage checks. And it's doing 2d4 beak.
Wait, see, now I'm just happy that it's a legendary creature, because if there was 2 of them, then they could breed and we'd all be screwed.
We just need to tame this mighty creature and send it against Vecna.
Yeah. It's
the only thing that can defeat him.
It's important, Vecna being a CR 26 creature. This is a CR 5 creature. I mean, CRs are bullshit anyway, but still. So our legendary...
Andy, it does 50 Constitution damage.
Yeah. You just need to hit 0, right?
And it gets better. Legendary actions. Flaming Dive and Fire Breath. No cost. No amount of legendary actions it can use. And no... Sorry. The owlbear dives down 30 feet and fire engulfs it. Every creature within 15 feet takes 5d12 fire damage and 8d12 bludgeoning damage. Creatures within 5 feet of the blast can make a dexterity saving throw, and at the beginning of the target's turn takes 2d12 fire damage and burns up to 1 minute.
It sounds like somebody's just got a meteorite and just painted like a rough
face of
picture of an
an
owlbear's face on it, and there's like, this is my monster. It ends dinosaurs.
And they made a stat block for it. So this can happen as many times at the end of each player character's turn. It is no save on the 30 feet and 15 feet damage. You just take the 5d12 damage and 8d12 bludgeoning.
Yep.
Creatures outside of 5 feet of the blast area, so the people between 15 feet and 20 feet, can make a dexterity saving throw. However, it doesn't say whether or not you take nothing if you save that throw. And at the beginning of a target's turn, you're taking 2d12 fire damage for a minute, which is 10 turns, no resave at the end of any turn. CR5 creature, people. CR5 creature.
Yeah. I just choose... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Nat.
Oh, I just choose to read the, what was it? No, I'm... Right, the save. I just choose to read that as, you can make the save. It won't do anything. It won't help you. But you can make it. It makes you feel better.
At least you die with a smile on your face.
Yeah, you felt like you had agency in the situation.
What's becoming blatantly clear is that we must not let the US government see this creature, because as soon as they get wind of the powerhouse and the weaponized potential, if I've learned anything from 80s and 90s movies, is that as soon as they get wind of this, they will stop at nothing to breed bears and owls and Jiffy Firelighters. I assume that's the third ingredient to that genetic mix.
No, it's got to be a zipper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, it needs the ignition somewhere. Or maybe they control the ignition. That's why they control the power of it. But they will stop at nothing, Andy. Why are we broadcasting this? Surely.
It's okay. We're only in Australia. Nobody in America watches Australian Twitch.
The best that the Australian government will do is just make some terrible submarines out of a bear and an owl.
Exactly. So it's important to know... So last ability, Fire Breath. So after the absolute powerhouse ability of Flaming Dive, Fire Breath. Like, what could be its comparable? When you're thinking as a DM, the end of a player's turn, what am I going to do here? Am I going to do the Flaming Dive or am I going to do the Fire Breath? Which one's going to work the best here? Fire Breath is a 15-foot cone that's 10 feet long. Interesting. Cone.
Yes.
Cone. Yeah.
Yep.
The cone is 15 feet, while also being 10 feet long. Erupts from the owlbear's beak. The targets must make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or take 2d6 fire damage or half on a successful save. Well, I gotta say that is an absolute contender for. Like, if you're the DM and you have to think Flaming Dive or Fire Breath, they're equal, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to flip the coin. There's no other way to decide.
One is 5d12 fire damage, 8d12 bludgeoning damage, with 2d12 fire damage at the start of each player character's turn who got hit by this for up to a minute, which is 10 turns. And the other is 2d6 fire damage, or half on a successful saving throw on a 15-foot cone that is 10 feet long. Interesting.
Andy, but what you're forgetting here is the 2d4 beak, which may determine how many beaks that Fire Breath is coming out. Surely that would multiply the damage exponentially when there's upwards of 8 beaks covering this owlbear, all spewing fire.
Yeah.
And this has immediately become an Eldritch Horror. You've just stepped it up over the line.
Yeah.
Yep, well done.
So I gotta say, for the most downvoted homebrew monster in all of D&D Beyond, this definitely is a thing.
Yeah, I'm proud of them. That it takes effort.
They had to write some stuff here.
Yeah.
That would have taken somebody 20 to 30 minutes at least to create this.
I feel like the name is letting it down. Like, Fire Elemental Owlbear, I mean, it's a little bit underwhelming for, like, the horror that this creature is.
Yeah, for
Meteoric?
yes.
Meteoric Owlbear?
The Auric Owlbear, yeah.
Meteoric owlbear monstrosity. That's what they should name it.
Yeah.
I feel like it needs subtitles as well. This thing is deserving of like an anime-style boss name.
Yeah.
So, Meteoric Owlbear, bringer of the end times.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I think you make a great point. The language section of this meteoric owlbear is blank. We should definitely put some other language in there so we can speak in subtitles.
Yeah, 100%. It just yells out, "No, Shinru."
Did the hellfire appeared?
No,
And then it's
the
like,
first Hellfire appears.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This isn't even the owlbear's final form.
Yeah.
Wait till we get to the swarm of meteoric owlbears.
Yeah.
I know,
A
right?
swarm of firemen to owlbears is definitely.
And then you have to roll individually for how many beaks each one has and keep track of that.
Oh, so many beaks.
Oh man, absolute chaos. I mean, this is the creature. You know, we had the swarm of krakens, but if you're like the DM who's just like, you know what, I just want something to ruin my player's life, this is that creature.
Yeah. This is the campaign ender.
This is you pissed off the DM, so he wants a TPK creature at party level 3.
Yeah. Just don't let you druids see this.
I will throw down the gauntlet here that, Andy, if you actually make the stat block for a proper meteoric owlbear, I will do the picture for it. That is, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. If you make it happen, I'll make it happen.
Alright, we're going to stop streaming. We're going to shoot back to the live panel, which we should be on, which hopefully will increase our frames per second. And
Give me those frames.
we got two. We'll have to look in. We'll have to look into some homebrew classes. We'll have to look into some magic items.
You cannot do the cursed items without me.
Yeah, no, we'll make sure to bring you along for that. So, what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to thank you sincerely for joining us for another episode of Out of Character. We're going to call it there for tonight. I would like to thank my wonderful guests for stepping in to join me on discussing some events of the campaign and talking about their characters and what's going on with them at the moment, and also dumping into D&D Beyond's homebrew world and looking at these really great monster creations is a word I would say. But thank you, Nat. Thank you, Richard, for joining us. And
thank you,
my
Andy.
name's Andy, and we will hopefully. I know our schedule says there's no session next week. But because we missed today's session, we might try and shuffle some things around. So we'll see how we go. And just check all our socials out for updates. And join the Discord. Look at all of our amazing sponsors below, affiliates of the channel. There's some great deals there. You can see on our Discords and our Facebooks. Yep, there we go. All the details about that. But yes, thank you for joining us, and have a good night, everybody.